This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Let's give a background of you a little bit. Where'd you grow up? And real quick.
Okay. I grew up in Springville. I was born in California.
Nice.
Springville, Utah. And I moved to Mapleton. When I got married, it's so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go firing right out of the cannon here.
Okay.
So the first time I met you, we were talking about your dad a little bit, and you said something that was I've thought about it a lot since. And it's the moment that your dad was super proud of you in a soccer game. You scored a couple goals. Can you tell us that story?
That's funny. Yeah. I always loved it when my dad would come to all my sports events. He worked a lot and wasn't around a lot when I was growing up. So I kind of just really wanted him to be there and to be proud of me. And so every time he would tell the story, it would make me feel just giddy inside that he cared and he was proud of me. And it was my senior year as the MVP, captain of the soccer team. And I did flip throw-ins and I scored the only 2 goals of the whole game. And it was with me flipping it in.
Yeah, that's cool.
They go pretty fast, so you can't really stop it. And but yeah, it was really cool. He just was yeah, you should have seen her, and you should have she just dominated that, and nobody else could stop it. It was so awesome. And it was just fun to see his reaction every time he would tell the story, and I'd just be like, my dad's talking about me. Yeah.
So why do you think that was so impactful in your life with your dad?
Just because I guess I loved his attention, because I just didn't feel like I was the youngest of 7, and I just felt more growing up alone. All my siblings were kind of doing their thing, and my dad he worked in California, and I don't know, I just kind of felt like I'm here, but I didn't get a lot of one-on-one attention from him, and I cherished it every time he'd come home, and just being with us, but there's so many people, And then when we got older, he was working at a heating place, and he owned his own business, and then we worked at a theater that we owned. It was called the Villa Theater in Springville. So much fun. But yeah, I just kind of did my own thing. So it was just more that I didn't have him around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like that you were the youngest kid?
Yeah, because I got spoiled.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's fair.
Yeah. All my siblings are like, you're such a jerk. Yeah.
So what's the age gap between your oldest sibling and you?
16 years.
16 years,
Mm-hmm.
So oldest brother, oldest sister?
A brother.
A brother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How's your relationship now?
With my dad or with
your older brother?
Oldest brother? Yeah. We're good. We don't have we don't connect. We're not
because he was basically probably out of the house by the time you were 4 or 5, right? So
yeah, I don't remember.
Not a lot of interaction.
I never remembered growing up unless he would come home and he would do the Chinese torture, he'd knock on my chest and he'd spit in my face, name 10 fruits. Yeah. That's what I remember from him.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, and a couple times connecting about cool music, and he was into records and stuff like that. That was his era at 70s and stuff like that. And he was really cool to me. I always looked up to him like that. And but
did your parents talk highly of him when he was gone out of the house? Because sometimes the oldest is kind of like a golden child. Speaking, I'm the oldest child. So.
He was kind of the trouble kid.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I didn't hear them say anything negative necessarily until I was older. Just yeah, he was into these things, But he's a great man, Yeah, he's raised beautiful children and really hardworking men.
How many kids did he end up having?
5 boys and a daughter that his wife had before.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah. Yep.
That's a pretty big family. Mm-hmm. And then how many kids did you end up having?
I have 3 that came out of my belly.
Yeah.
And then 1 stepdaughter from my ex-husband's past relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because it's like, remember when we were growing up, right? It was kind of abnormal, I guess, to have like step siblings and stuff like that. Now that we're, you know, the age that we are, it's like, it's wildly common.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of blended families.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely different. I was not expecting to be a stepmom. It was not in the plan. Yeah. It really was, I never imagined that, becoming an Insta mom.
Yeah.
At 19, I started dating him and became, you know, his wife at 20. So, so she was 2 when I met her, and so it's been a long while. She's 30 now. Yeah. So she's got her own 2 kids, and they're beautiful, and I'm grateful for her relationship. Yeah.
That's fun. My uncle married a lady that had a son. So one of my cousins is, you know, from however you call that. I was gonna say out of wedlock, back in the day, right? But and it's always been fun. His name's Chris, right? And his mom's from El Salvador, so my aunt was from El Salvador. They're divorced now, but you know, I still call her my aunt, but she was from El Salvador, and I think his bio dad, which I don't think he's ever met, he was from like New York, and so. And then my uncle, you know, is like me, he's white, he's Scottish, and so it was always fun because my uncle spoke Spanish, and then my aunt spoke Spanish, and like all their kids spoke Spanish. Cool. They're really academically accomplished. But yeah.
Did you learn Spanish?
I didn't. So I did my Mormon mission back when I was LDS to Scotland.
Oh,
so I went back to where my
cool.
dad was actually born in Scotland, so it was like this whole thing, and my grandpa was going crazy because
that's awesome.
Yeah, I met like cousins and aunts and uncles that were still alive when I was
really?
there. So yeah,
I have a lot of history in Scotland. My family's from Scotland. Yeah, like I got that like saliva test, and it's like Irish is my first, and then like Scottish is my second.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Or Denmark, I am like. I can't remember. It changes every now and again, right? If you look at because the more DNA they capture, the more diversified it gets. But I'm like 98.7% British.
Wow.
And so because you know when you do that, everyone's like, oh, maybe I got a little, I don't know, Middle Eastern in me or African or something, right? It's like, no. Yeah. I'm as white as it gets, straight from the Vikings.
You do look like a Viking.
Well, thank you.
I'm not sure about the nails, but you know.
Yeah.
What's up with the nails? Tell me about the nails.
So the nails are, so my buddy does his nails all the time.
Okay.
And he's fun, right? He owns like restaurants, and he's kind of a big personality. And so a couple months ago, before one of our men's mastermind weekends, which we do quarterly, right? Like I was like, I'm going to do my nails. So I did a couple pink ones, right? And then like, you know,
I saw those ones.
Yeah, oh yeah, you saw those ones. Yeah. And so, but the girl that does them is one of my friend's girlfriends, and I just love the way they feel. So I went and got them refilled last week. And this time I just did white, and then I did a little smiley face, right?
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
But it's funny because my mom yesterday was not happy that I have my nails done, which always cracks me up. And so, but all my nieces and nephews are like falling over themselves. They're like, Uncle Mark, oh, you know, because I got little nieces, you know, and they're just like feeling them. I'm like, I know, are these awesome? And they show me theirs, and it's honestly more of a conversation starter than anything.
That's there you go.
Yeah. So and
I can't paint my nails. Like they will be done.
Oh, do you break those stuff?
Well, I rock climb, and that ruins it, and I'm just not. I don't know. I can't do it.
See, my sin with them is I'll let them grow out till I clip them off because I don't care. Yeah, because they start looking bad right after like a month or two. But I'm also like, how am I supposed to get this gel crap off?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, so you do the gel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are like 3 or 4 layers of stuff.
Wow.
And so
my other brother, I have 2 brothers, and my the younger brother. Yeah. He paints his toenails. Yeah. Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah, guilty.
He'll do it like for like different holidays. He'll do like a flag for.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, when I do my nails, this is only the second time I've actually done them. So
pretty
new at this.
It's new. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of, it's kind of funny we're talking about this. You know, because they put like a finish on, and they do like a couple layers of paint and more finish, and it like makes your nails stronger. And so it's...
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Just depends on it when they take it off. If they like grind it too far, then it can make it really weak.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So you
They
just
definitely
need to make sure
grinded
don't.
Yeah.
Make sure don't grind it past that point. But I stopped doing gel nails because of that.
Yeah.
So then mine just look crappy half the time.
Yeah. Because if you don't do gel, it only lasts like a couple days.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's been winter, so I'm not like too concerned.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been doing pedicures for a long time. Long time.
Nice.
Most of the time I just do a clear coat.
Yeah.
Right? Because whatever. But right now they're midnight blue because why not?
Why not? Just do it.
But I like the,
you like the sky.
Yeah, I think it's good for a person to go in there and take care of themselves, right? Like, get your feet grinded a little bit, and they take the dead skin off, and then they massage you and make you smell nice, and it's like, yeah, it's nice.
I have a funny story about that. So I was in San Diego with some girlfriends, and we all went and got a pedicure, and they're Vietnamese, and they're all just like going down the line, which, like how much, like, what do you want to get? And they're like, would you like to like have extra, extra work done on your feet or whatever? I was like, sure. And so she's like, okay, $5 for you, $5 extra for you, $8 for you. And I was like, everybody just started laughing because I'm just like, I'm, active. I'm an athlete. I have like calluses on my feet to run. And I think at the time I was doing triathlons, but yeah, it was just so funny. I'm like, yeah, I need extra work on my feet. That was so embarrassing.
Yeah, you're all, fair enough. Yeah. It's funny when I go with my wife a lot for pedicures because I don't like the conversation. I'm always like, Michelle, tell them what I want.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, because they're always upselling me. And then I start feeling bad. Then all of a sudden I got like 10 unicorns on my toes. They're $5 each. I'm out here for like $100.
You don't want to tell them.
No.
You're so funny.
So I always, she'll just be like, no, he wants the basic. No, well, let's add this one thing to it.
Please do this for me.
Yeah, and I just sit there on my phone acting like I don't know what's going on.
Well, I don't even know what this is. Never done this before.
Yeah, all my first time. Yeah.
I'm not into this. I'm just such a man.
Yeah. Now, don't be careful with that. Most people would accuse me of being super manly.
Yeah, true.
But so let me ask you another question. So I love the stories you were telling me about raising your kids and going on trips. And well, and here's another thing. Let's hit this one first. You always say, from the one time we met, you just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Right. And like, as I look at your Instagram and like, I've got to know you a little bit more, right? Like it's such a redeeming quality of you to me. Like I really am attracted to like that attitude of like, yes, why are we making life complicated? Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
Not without responsibility, but like what do you mean by that?
I mean, life is meant to be lived. So I think growing up, that's what I did. So when I felt alone, I'd just go to my friends and we would go literally like we'd take a lunch, we'd eat breakfast, we'd take a lunch, and we would not come back till dark. And so we would just go up in the mountains. I lived right on a mountain. Yeah. And so we just go right out our doors, go up in the mountains, and we would just explore all day long. And that seriously was our life growing up. It was super cool. And so I just got used to like having fun all day. And then I just have a tendency to like gather people and make them do crazy stuff with me. So I like to play. It's just, I feel like I have still that like childlike like play inside of me that just wants to just go have fun and innocent in a lot of ways like that. And I think that I see a lot of people like, and especially women, like get so like heavy into, motherhood and things like that. And I just feel like life is so much better when you're smiling and you're laughing and you're adventuring and exploring and being creative. And like, I think that brings out our creativity and when we're not like, and I think there's a balance, and I definitely tend to go on the more out of balance and the fun. than the work. And so I homeschooled my kids. You mentioned about my kids, and I homeschooled them for just a few years. And we would do like the science and math and all that stuff because that's what they say to do. And I would get in arguments every time. It was not fun, and I hated it. And I would just like dread that part of school because it was just like, I know you got to do it, but it's more for what everybody else thinks and everybody else wants us to do. But then when I like would tap into like my mother instinct and be like, this is what I feel like they need to learn. And so I made something called like nature school, and we would just go up the canyon and we would go explore up in the mountains, and we would find like a little spot. We had like these we call it our secret spots. And we would put out a blanket, and I would bring a book and some snacks, and I'd read them like Little House on the Prairie. And then like we'd skip rocks in the river or whatever. We'd take, a little notebook, and I would have them like color like a tree, like pick something in nature to color, and then we'll like label it. And I'd take them on like herb walks and different things like that. And so I guess I just wanted them to like be grateful for nature and be grateful for like just like, I don't know, like the natural part of our life. I think we get so fixated in schools and sitting down, and like I just recognize like when I felt like I needed to pull my kids out. We were in a charter school, and my daughter got caught cheating, and she was in first grade, but they level up if they're like smarter in different subjects. So they put her in a level up in second grade, but they didn't really like, I don't think she really was ready for that. It was like too big. Yeah. And so she got caught cheating and looking on somebody's paper in second grade. Yeah. Right. And so what they did is they punished her and put her in the back of the classroom because of that. And I'm like, how about you teach her? Like, how about you find out what's going on? Like, does she understand? Like, go to that level instead of, I just kept on seeing things like that in the school system. And I just was like, I'm out. Like, I'm out. I can't do that. And so, so it was just things like that. So I just had this dream of like not doing textbook, like science and history and all that stuff. Like, let's go to the places. Like, I want to do that someday. Like, I want to be in an RV and I want to like teach you guys like hands-on. And so like you really learn it and it's exciting for you and it's fun, like I wanted my daughter to play the violin, and so I took her to concerts and got her excited about hearing violin. And then I said, oh my gosh, that's so great. Wouldn't you love to play that, like that girl or whatever? And then she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I have this teacher that I found, and I would love to take violin lessons too. Do you want to do it with me? And so I took violin lessons with her as well. And so then she did that, and it helped her to like make it fun instead of like a chore, and it made it exciting for her. Yeah. And then later on, so we didn't have the money to like do that, and my husband was working full time at that time when we were doing homeschool. And I decided to put them back in school because of an opportunity I could make some money. And I just kind of like, my vision was like, if I get enough money, then I want to be able to take my kids and do that. Yeah. And maybe I can retire my husband and we can do it all as a family. And I just had these big goals for my family. And so, yeah, like, I think how many years later? It was like 3 years. 3 years later, that's what I did.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. That's what I did. So, retired him, not like he needed to be retired, but like it was just like so he could come home. And then we bought the RV, we took him out and did it, and it was really great. but I was like, it was kind of like the test, like, are you guys in for this? Because my kids were older at that time. And I was just like trying to like hope that they would want to come back. And my two boys were in, but my daughter was not in. And so she just wanted to go back to school. So it kind of crushed my dream a little bit because it was so great. It was so fun just exploring, and we went to Mount Rushmore. And, you know, like, I think I'm recognizing as a parent now that I wanted things more for them than they necessarily wanted it. Yeah. And so I'm learning how, like, that wasn't necessarily like the best. But then there was, and they look back and they appreciate, you know, all of that. And they wish they would have like understood that a little bit more. Yeah. You know, my daughter's like, she didn't really have like a really great high school life. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, like, I feel like it could have been a better experience for her. And like, you should have done it the way that I was telling you.
Yeah. It's funny when you say that, because we've been homeschooling now for about I think we're 3 years in, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because there's this thing in you where you're like, well, are you going to miss out on stuff? And it's like, what, high school? You know what I mean? Like, high school sucks. I loved high school.
I loved high school. I'm
not
like,
that
that's
awesome.
Not for me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean in the fact that it's like the alternate side of that is so much more appealing. Like going through the country, seeing things, learning things,
so
going in other countries. Yeah. And like my wife and I, we would love, and we're kind of loosely planning this. We'll see if we actually pull it off. Mm-hmm. But we want to go to Europe for like 4.5 months and just live. Like we're going to just we'll go to a place for 3 weeks, stay there. Right. Mm-hmm. But every weekend is going to be like little weekend trips, you know? So like we're in Italy, you know, we'll go to like Florence for a weekend, then we'll go up to like Lake Como for a weekend, then we'll stay in Rome for a weekend, right? Then we'll move to the next location, maybe it's Paris, right? And kind of map it out. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this would be like the most awesome thing ever. We're going to try and pull it off in 2 years, and we can. But, and the only thing that's stopping us is my work. So it's all on me, what I can do to like put some stuff in place. But we just love the idea of doing that, especially because my daughter's 14, right? So we'll probably pull it up by about the time she's 16. And then
just opens their minds to do something different. And the culture, I mean, Italy, of course, is like the best. I love Italy, but I took my kids there too, and they loved it. But like, I don't know, like, they're young, you know? Yeah. And you think that they're going to remember stuff, but like, I took my kids to like India and Nepal and things like that. And like, do you remember it? Like, yeah, but, you know.
So tell me about Nepal. Was India and Nepal on the same trip?
Yeah, same trip.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. Cool. It was really cool. I really wanted them to get that, like, culture of, like, just traveling. And, like, because I didn't travel internationally until I was, like, I don't know, 2014. So I don't know how old I was.
Oh, okay.
But what is that, 10 years ago? So I was 37. And so, yeah, I was like, I want to do this. Like, it was like super brand new that my business like kind of got me into that, where I started to travel. And it was just a goal of mine. Like, I wanted to fly internationally by myself. I just had these like little goals. Oh, yeah. And then I thought, well, it'd be super cool if my kids could do the same thing. So I was in Bali. I went first, and I was teaching some classes and stuff over there. And then I met them. They flew to India by themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So just, so my oldest and her husband at the time, because they got married early because they're older than my other kids, they flew in separately. And then my two kids was 18 and 16, and they went in after. And so I was at the airport just a little bit longer, and then I just waited for him. And there's just a lot of things that you have to like grow up really fast, you know, when you're that age, because like with traveling, I mean, because there's just things that like happen, like, oh, the visa like didn't work, and we like, you have to just think through things, and you have to be creative, and you have to like be fast, and you know, like you have to think really quick. And so there was some things that happened even to get there, and they were hauling 50-pound like briefcases, not briefcases, but suitcases. Yeah. and they had Days for Girls feminine hygiene kits that we actually did. Like we had like a whole community thing. Everybody helped make them, and then we took them. So that was just a lot of like effort, like the regular bags plus that. It was a lot, and so I was really proud of all of them because there was 4 bags that we brought over like that, and we took them into the red light district, and in India, and they got to see like some real stuff, you know, like. Did
you have guides, or did you just go?
So my son-in-law, he went on his mission to India. Okay. So he had a mission companion that lived over there. So he was kind of our like driver. Yeah. And then I got connected somehow. I can't remember how I was connected to this orphanage over there. Oh, it wasn't an orphanage. Sorry. It's called Inner Light, something like that, inside of the red light district. So it's 4 daughters and kids of the prostitutes. And so they were just trying to give them a better life than their parents had, or their moms, really. Yeah. And so we walked through the streets of where, like, all the prostitution and everything was. And, like, they have, like, these beds, and then, like, there's a bed below that the kids sleep under. And so, like, their mom works in their bed. Like, so these are, like, the kids are seeing, like, real stuff. And you're just walking and you're like seeing the moms out there like washing their kids off in the street in the like the gutter with the water, and you know there's people that are like sick and just like on the side of the road, and it's just dirty, and like there's just a real poverty, you know, like real stuff there.
How do you keep your kids safe while they're there?
Just keep them by me. Like I felt peaceful. I felt there was a couple times, like one time, I think it was in India. Yeah, it was in India. We had some really crazy things that happened. Oh my gosh. So there was some really crazy things. There's one lady, like people are getting trafficked. You don't know. And they're like, you just look, oh my gosh, you're so sad. And they just like, they come up to you because, you know, you're visiting. And so they like know you got money and stuff. And so one lady, we're just like parked in the car, and she like comes and knocks on the door. It's like midnight, and she's got this baby in her arms, and she's just like, come help me, my baby needs to eat, and just like, you know, like dead looking. And then the lady told us that I was working with at the school, she was like, don't give her any money, she's pimped out basically. And the baby, they're alive, but they like drug them. They drug them, so they just stay asleep all day long, and they just feed them. Like, I mean, it broke my heart to see how these people were treating the children, and like that was my first like eye-opening experience to like sex trafficking and stuff like that. So, like if she would have done anything wrong, like there's the pimp like right down the road, like, and watching this thing happen. And so those things were like scary. In Nepal, we had this lady come up to us, and she had this beautiful boy. So of course it's like this handsome little boy that you're just like, oh my gosh, look at his eyes. And hi, my son needs milk. Can you come help me? And I was like, well, India seemed crazy, but I felt more safe in Nepal. Yeah. Like it just was more peaceful. Like I thought I was going to die like so many times in India, just like driving down the road, because you're just like head-ons every second. You feel like you're going to die. Yeah. But I just felt like, I don't know, it just like, like I want to like help this lady. And then I was like going to just give her some money. She's like, oh, you got to follow me over to this place. And so I took I shouldn't be telling this story. I took my my kids with me, and we went to this like shop, and they're like, well, you need to buy the milk here. I was like, okay. So I bought the milk. Just super innocent. I was just like, I want to like do something for her. And it just seemed like real, you know, and that's where they get you, right? Yeah. And then they're like, well, we have like this like hut that's just down just the path over here if you want to come and see it. And we're like, well, sure. So we like walked to we're on an adventure. Yeah. Just me and my kids and a couple other kids that I was with. And It was for a business trip on like, so we went to Nepal. So we went to India like on our own, and then we went to Nepal, and we were just like on this little break, and it was like a service trip, and they showed us, and it was like this like tent, and they were like cooking food and all this stuff, and we were just like seeing how they lived, right? So I wanted my kids to see how they lived. And then she's like, well, my kid needs like milk, and can you help me pay for it? And I was like, okay. So like she asked me for more. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then we got to the place where we needed to go to the bus to get on, and then she was sitting right here. She's like, come with me over here. And everybody went to the bus, right? And I was like caught in this place, like, do I help her or do I go back to the bus? Yeah. And I just was like, I just had this like split moment of like, I better go back. I don't feel good. Yeah. And I just like listening to my intuition, and I'm, you know what? Thank you. I hope, you can get some food for your baby. Thanks for sharing your, home with us and stuff. Yeah. And then went into the bus, and our, just one of our leaders there was saying, hey, just so you know, like, people are going to ask you for money for milk for their babies. And if you do, they're actually going to lead you into places, and they are like going to sex traffic you. Like, they'll take you away. So I was like, okay, well, kids, I may have never seen you again. Like, yeah. So like, you just have to be really smart. Like, but that's how you get smart. Yeah. Is you got to travel, and you got to teach your kids to be smart too, and don't be gullible, but also like trust your intuition too. Like, is this person really, like, it's the same thing here. Like, is this person really needing help? Like, is it my issue, or is it just going to come from my heart, Yeah. But like,
you probably know how far you're willing to go, right?
Yeah.
Like if someone wants some money from you, standing there, it's like, give them a couple bucks, like, right? It's a different thing to like, hey, come on down to the river. Yeah,
so it's just like, it kind of felt like fishy just a little bit. So all of that was set up. That was all set up. That whole house thing, everything was not real. It was all from like sex trafficked people.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've learned, not real recent, but in the last 10 years about sex trafficking, and it boggles my mind how prevalent it is. It's everywhere. Yeah. Like who would have thought maybe the sex trafficked people, white people out of Nepal, right? But it happens all the time.
And they just look like they're normal people. There's boys and girls and men and women, and you just would not think that that's how they're doing it. It's pretty corrupt. So, yeah, but we had fun.
Yeah, you made it home.
Yeah, we made it home. We didn't die. We're still living, so.
Yeah, how do your kids look at that trip? Did they love it?
They loved it, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, it made them want to travel. My son went to Australia when he, just a little bit later after that, and he wanted to just kind of have that life as well. And my daughter went back to Bali because I took her for her senior trip later. Yeah. And so she went to Bali with her husband, and, they just like love to travel now. And I just think it's really cool to see different cultures and to learn different religions. Like, it was huge for me to see a different religion outside of Utah. Yeah. When I went to Bali and seeing the Hindu faith and the dedication that they had to their gods, and it was just like, wow, that's beautiful. Like, I need to be better, like, at what I do. I wasn't trying to like have shame or guilt about it. It was just inspiring how they treated their families. And like, every place that I've been to, I usually will, like, something that inspires me, I'll take it back to my house and like put it in. Like, I have a cool backyard that I love to add things to that is fun, that has different things from places that I've traveled. And
I'm excited to experience your backyard. I looked at it. It looks really cool. I remember you telling me about it with the tent and everything.
Yeah.
Or the teepee, I should call it
teepee. Yeah, little teepee. It's been there, I don't know. I get mixed up. I'm like, has it been 8, 9, 10 years? Something like that. It's been a lot of years that I've had it. And she's starting to get really sad out there. So her days are numbered.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you got to get over there soon.
Deal, I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the most important thing to you currently?
Currently is probably like learning to accept myself for who I am. Yeah.
Why do you think you struggle with that?
'Cause I haven't ever really experienced being on my own before. And so it's a new thing. And I always like would run to like, I feel like there's a place of like having fun and then there's a place of like running away.
Yeah.
And I think that is definitely something that like I've had to like really face in like right in my face. And I recently got divorced and you just kind of like, okay, I got to learn this new thing, you know, like I moved right into his house right out of like my parents' house. Yeah. And so I didn't go to college outside of my home. I went to massage therapy school when I was 18, but I just went like at night school and worked full time and it was just in Salt Lake. So I just would drive up there, but I never like had the experience of like being on my own and like really facing like all of that inside of me that doesn't feel safe inside of myself. Yeah. And so I need people around. Like I'm a really like social person, like anybody knows that about me. And I love that. And when I get to like face myself, like it's a scary place sometimes because then it's like, oh, I actually have to like be alone. Like, what is that like? What does it feel like? And definitely like, I'm sure there's like a lot of things from childhood and different things that like attribute to that because I felt alone when I was a kid. Yeah. And so like, it was just like, I felt like my parents loved me. They took care of me. I was never abused. Like I really had a good life. But there's a lot of like, I think a lot of unspoken pain going on in my family that I was not aware of until I was older. And I think that's what I was feeling. And so I feel like everybody was just kind of checked out growing up. And so, I don't like to feel alone very often. So I'm really facing myself right now and I'm getting better at it. And I'm like really proud of myself. I'm like not like just going out and like trying to just like run from that. And so I'm like sitting with myself and like looking at myself in the mirror and like telling myself I love me, you know? And I started doing this dance class and it's called Ishtara and it's a really beautiful feminine like embodiment type class that I take and it's really taking time to like notice like you and spend time with you and in like being intimate, right? Yeah. With yourself and in a beautiful way. And instead of like for show for anybody else and just really like being at home inside of you, you know, having that intimacy, like into me, I see. And so I really loved that class. And so like I go home and I get to turn on music and be with myself and dance for me. And it's really a powerful practice. I've shared it with some other like women in some women's retreats and stuff that I've done. And I think a lot of women don't really understand, like I don't think they really get the same thing too, because they haven't really had that experience. You have your kids around you, you're always doing stuff, you're busy, you're helping with this and that. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, kids are grown up, husband's gone. Okay, hi, who are you? Yeah. Because you've just done this whole thing for so long, you know? But I have loving people around me. Like I have so many amazing people. I'm not lonely. I just have to face that piece inside of me that needs to be seen, you know, by me. Nobody else can feel that except for me. And so it's been a beautiful process. I feel like I'm already getting stronger and more comfortable in my own skin. So,
well, and part of that is you mentioned it. You're working on a women's retreat right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the title of it?
it's called The Power of Her.
Yeah, explain that more.
I think that a lot of women just don't necessarily like see their power, and her is her, this piece right here, and how valuable like her is. And we will be like exploring that a lot, and what that looks like to connect into her. Yeah. And we have some specific processes that will open up and expand her awareness of her beauty and her goddess that's within her. And so we also will have like adventure and fun, because I think a lot of people also don't really like, they're scared to like go do things like that. Like they haven't had, they don't do things like that. And also being with women, like it's intimidating to be with women sometimes, because I think women are really mean to each other. And so I've really tried to like help shift that gap of like seeing women as like equals instead of competition and judgment. And really what we have to really look at is like when we start to judge or condemn, you got to be careful. Like I feel like there's no place ever to judge, because you don't know where any woman or man have been or walked. You can't judge what they do. It may look really bad, and you can be like, oh, they did this, or I've done a lot of shitty stuff, but there's no excuse for it. I own it. I own what I have chose to do in my life. But there's also reasons that people do what they do, because they're not safe, or they've been hurt, and so really like being able to see that like innocence in a woman, and not even that, but just like their godliness. And I think the more that we can see that in ourselves, we can see that in other women. Yeah. And when you can do that, the judgment drops, the comparison drops, the feeling less than, or, whatever. They can be way more beautiful, like letting the ego go. They can be way uglier, whatever it is. Like you're not above them. Yeah. You're equally beautiful. And if we can like look at our own God self, then like, and we can truly see that in ourselves. So that's my practice. That's why I do that, because I want to see that goddess inside of me, and I can imagine her and see her, because I'm not my body. Yeah. My body houses my soul, but it's not me. Yeah. And so helping other women like learn that as well. And we do specific practices and different things that help to bring them back into themselves, into their truth, into their authenticity. And I've lived a life of not being authentic to myself in different areas of my life, and not being honest with myself, and being in a lie. And so I'm breaking out of that. I'm learning those things, and I'm not perfect, but I'm working on becoming that more and more, and seeing more and more of my beauty inside of myself. And it just helps me to see that in other women, and that we're all here to like, just, gosh, we're here to love. Yeah. Let's not forget, like, let's be kind, because we don't know what other people are going through and what they have gone through, what they just experienced 5 minutes ago. Their husband just yelled at them, or they just got beat, or, or somebody said something really rotten to them and they feel really bad and they reacted, and you're like, oh, geez, she's a bitch, like we can just be reactive and
seeking to understand
learning
people.
To be like compassionate. Yeah. Like that's what this, I think, world needs a little bit more of, is a little more compassion, a little more understanding, but not trying to understand them, because you're never going to understand somebody. You can just accept, like, and when we can accept like ourselves, we can accept other people.
Yeah.
But I think if we don't, then good luck. You're just going to live in hell.
Yeah.
So, because you're going to be trying to compare yourself all the time, and you're going to be a mess. Because you're just going to be judging and critical and never safe and never feeling like peace inside. Because you're just like, oh, this person, I got to be this, I got to do that. I mean, I've done it. Like, I've done this stuff. I got to, do the fitness competitions and this and that and prove all of these things. And I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is me. Like, and I think if we can all get to that point, then it's just so much more freeing.
That's
and
a
I
good
think
thing.
everybody values freedom.
Yeah. So just short of an infomercial, how does a retreat work? How's a weekend go? Is it like a 2-night thing or?
We're going to have a 3-night, 4-day thing. It's in Sundance, Utah. And it's June 3rd through the 6th. And yeah, we just have we have some really fun things planned at night and amazing food, healthy food. And we will be just like doing some like yoga, meditation, things like that. We have a hot tub. It's a really beautiful cabin up Sundance is like my home. So like, I know it like the back of my hand. So it's really fun. We've been doing them in Hawaii the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to do this. We have another one in the fall in Sedona. So it's
Perfect.
Yeah, it'll be really cool.
So if people want to sign up, where do they go?
They can go to themodernshamanlife.com.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
or go to my Instagram, Rachel Jones Life,
Yeah.
or the Modern Shaman Life. Yeah, on Instagram.
Very good.
Mhm.
Well, cool. Well, hey, we're at the end, so I'm going to ask you, what is your best advice?
To live. It's a level of like Eros that if you don't know what Eros is, it's basically living an erotic life. And that means not just sexually, like that's more than like people think of that. Oh, Eros is, it's like living like on fire, living alive, like in everything that you do, the food that you eat, the people that you talk to, the way that you do yoga, the way that you decorate, like whatever it is, like just living and like experiencing things and really feeling like noticing and being grateful for life itself. And I think a lot of us, and me and myself, forget, we get unconscious. So it's just basically staying conscious to life, like why we came here, remembering who we are, what we're doing here. And like this life is a gift. So like we can live it to like full out and like just experiencing, like noticing when you're driving down the road, the clouds and just like, oh my gosh, like notice this thing and go here and like, let's go and explore into this, it's just, it's being almost like you're a kid again, like you don't have any inhibitions and you ask questions, like be curious to life. Yeah. And it will lead you into beautiful spaces and it'll just be more fun.
Yeah.
So that's maybe my advice that I would give.
Yeah, I love it.
So.
Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully we get a bunch of girls to sign up for your retreat.
Yeah,
that sounds like great.
Awesome. Yeah, so. Come along. I'd love it. I mean, you could, but you just have to put some. You got the nails.
Yeah, I got the nails. Yeah, the hair's gonna throw it off. Not to mention the size.
Yeah, I look a little bad. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.